right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco Giants video. Who are the Giants most likely to get? We'll talk about that coming up here in a minute. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find in all of Northern California. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description, and you can sign up and use that promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they'll match you up to $100. This week in Underdog, I'm going Brock Purdy lower than 245.5 passing yards, Joe Burrow higher than 276.5 passing yards, Jamar Chase higher than 86.5 receiving yards, Geno Smith lower than 244.5 passing yards, and Travis Etienne Jr. of the Jaguars higher than 64.5 rushing yards. Check him out, Underdog Fantasy. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Giants. Free agency's begun, folks. That's right. The Giants could sign people like today. And there's been a lot of rumors. And I mean, I hate to be pessimistic on the Giants because I'm such a Giants fan and I'm rooting for them to have a great offseason. I really am. And, you know, everybody's coming out with their free agent projections, who's going where and who's going to wind up where, and who are the Giants going to land. And, you know, a lot of people feel like the Giants are going to be right there in the bidding for Shohei Ohtani, the top free agent on the market. Most people think he's going to wind up with the Dodgers, but the Giants are the second choice as far as the betting choice. I think they're 5-1 to land Ohtani. MLB Trade Rumors says the Giants are all in on Cody Bellinger and are going to make a big run for Bellinger. There's a lot of people suggesting the Giants are going to go after Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is absolutely ridiculous. He looks like Tim Lincecum. Looks like a young Tim Lincecum coming out of Japan. We've heard the Giants connected to Jordan Montgomery, the pitcher from the Rangers, Matt Chapman, the former A's third baseman. You know, so those are some of the big names that I've heard. Some people are suggesting they're going to trade for Mike Trout. I've heard Mike Trout to the Giants rumored. But the more I look at this, the more I think, you know what? It's like you think of Trout and Bellinger and all these great opportunities for these awesome players. And then as a Giants fan, you just kind of know they're not getting those guys. They're just not. They're just not. I don't know why. They're just not. Farhan has not been able to get those guys. And already I'm hearing indications. I mean, even though the Giants badly need offense in their outfield, Farhan just did an interview the other day, and he's like, we need to get better defensively in the outfield. All right, once again, so it's like, he's going to go for a defensive oriented guy. And what he really means, he's probably going to try to add a player out in the outfield who can't really hit, who doesn't really hit very much. So who are the options out there? Well, first of all, there's the free agent from the KBO, who's an interesting name for sure. Jung-Hoo Lee. I think his nickname is the grandson of the wind. And a lot of people think he's going to get, a 5-year, $50 million deal. And he's an outstanding defensive center fielder. And whether he's a big time hitter or just a good hitter, he's a contact hitter. He's a 270 hitter, maybe at the low end. Maybe he's a 300 hitter. He's been an awesome hitter in the KBO. He's got kind of a big swing, and he is very, very slight. Kind of reminds you in some ways of Tsuyoshi Shinjo as far as the big swing. And you just kind of wonder if his offense will translate to Major League Baseball. But that would be kind of a player on a bigger name player. But I think Giants fans maybe want to set their sights a little lower than that. I'm going to give you 3 names that I think probably make sense. One is Harrison Bader. They're saying Harrison Bader, he's got plus speed, plus defense in center field. He had 5 home runs in 9 playoff games in 2022. He's coming off a year where he had 232 with the Yankees and the Reds and battled injuries, oblique injuries, hammy injuries, groin injuries. He's only 29. And he hit 258 against lefties, 248 against righties. He can run well, and I could see Harrison Bader. being a Giant. I mean, that he doesn't give you much. He doesn't cost much, but he doesn't give you much offensively. Maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle, but he's more of a defensive option in the outfield. So Harrison Bader, I think, is very viable. Kevin Kiermaier, I think, is viable as well, even though he's probably a little long in the tooth. He's not the defensive player that he once was, but man, Kiermaier in his heyday could really go get it in center field. And if they're looking for outfield defense, how do you not kick tires on Kevin Kiermaier? But if you said to me, Krug, put some money down, who is Farhan going to wind up with? You got Bellinger, you got Trout, you've got some big name guys that they're being connected to. Who are they going to wind up with? If I was a betting man, I'd say Trent Grisham. He played for Melvin in San Diego. He's won a couple Gold Gloves. He's a very good defensive player. He's only 27. Padres probably going to move him. He's not a great offensive player. He's just not. I mean, he's had as many as 17 home runs. He's driven in as many as 62. He stole 15 bases this last year. But look at his batting averages. 2019, 231. 2020, 251. 2021, 242. 2022, 184 with a 284 on base. And this last year, 198 with a 315 on base, 352 slugging. So that's what he did this year. 13 home runs, 50 RBIs, 75 walks. Did hit a walk-off against the Giants at one point a few years back at Oracle Park. Giants always a value. Seems like guys who do it against them more than most teams. But yeah, that's the guy. If you said to me, give me a guy that you think they're going to wind up with in the offseason, if I was a betting man, as much as I'd love to see Mike Trout. Are you kidding me? I'd love to see Mike Trout. I'd love to see Cody Bellinger, a guy with power and speed who could play center field and be your everyday guy and hit third. But factor in Farhan, factor in their hesitancy to spend, their track record with free agents, and I would say forget Bellinger, forget Trout, start thinking Harrison Bader, Kevin Kiermaier, and if there's one guy that I could see them trading for, Trent Grisham of the San Diego Padres. Once again. So that's who and I feel like I know my team pretty well. I feel like I've watched these guys. I kind of know what they're about. I feel like I've got a good feel for them and bring on Grish. He's from Burleson, Texas. The Brewers drafted him in the first round, 15th pick in the draft in 2015 out of Richland Hills High School in Richland Hills, Texas. And, came up with the Brewers. And if you look at his splits, just looking at his splits from this last year, he hit 214 at home. He hit 185 on the road. He hit 206 in the daytime, 194 at night, 198 on grass, 205 on turf. By month, he hit 167 in March, 200 in April, 187 in May, 247. Whoa, 247 in June. Really had a hot June. 200 in July, 156 in August, 196 in September, 250 in October. He hit 209 before the break, and he hit 182 after the break. So, as far as lefty-righty, 256 off left-handed pitching, which is like batting championship stuff compared to what he did against righties. Against righties, he hit 178. So once again, what is Farhan? Farhan kicks tires on Bellinger, kicks tires on the kid from Korea, kicks tires on Mike Trout trades, and will wind up with Trent Grisham, who's a classic platoon player who, you can play him against left-handed pitching. You share center field with somebody who does better against right-handed pitching. Maybe you could share center field with Yaz. 256 against left-handed pitching. So there you go. I really believe this is the guy they'll wind up with. And it's not that Trent Grisham's awful. He's a really, as I said, he's a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. The guy's a very good defensive center fielder, and he's not old, and he's got a decent line drive stroke, and he's not that bad. But 198, that's what he hit this year. Career 216 hitter. That's what they're going to wind up with. A platoon guy who can play defense, who really can't hit all that great, that doesn't cost them that much. They'll probably wind up trading like Elliot Ramos and Keaton Winn to get him. You know what I mean? They won't get him for nothing. Believe me. The Padres AJ Preller will probably wind up getting a couple good players away from the Giants for him. But that's what they're going to go after. That's who they are at the end of the day. Are they Mike Trout? No. Are they Cody Bellinger? No. They're just not. They're not the kind of team that lands those kinds of players. Jung-Hoo Lee would be an incredible ad. Might hit 300 in the big leagues. Will they get him? Probably a little too rich for their blood. I could see the Padres winding up with Jung-Hoo Lee and that giving them the ability to trade Trent Grisham to the Giants for some live arm and Elliot Ramos. You know, I mean, but that at the end of the day, I feel like I know my team. And I would say I'm preparing for Harrison Bader, Kevin Kiermaier, and Trent Grisham. So when you're out there and you're hearing these rumors, Trout, Jung-Hoo Lee, Bellinger, remember, Krug told you it's much more likely to be Harrison Bader, Kevin Kiermaier, and if I'm a betting man, welcome to town, Trent Grisham. All right, thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.